but I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Commands, talk today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. It is indeed another magnificent Monday as we invite you to be a part of our Talk Today production. In the studio, the excellent company of Miss Berna Thompson Cummings and Miss Shirley Rolston. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Trust that you had a wonderful weekend. Peaceful, relax. And I'm excellently joined by the wonderful company of Miss Berna Thompson Cummings. Good afternoon, Mom. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, it certainly is a pleasure, and equally, Miss Shirley Rolston. Thank you.
Thank you, Sterling, and thank you to your listening audience for tuning in as well.
If I may, and certainly guide me, I believe as we look at our society, and in particular the women in our society, our mothers, our sisters, we think back to the days where, our fathers, the husbands, our brothers, they went to sea, and then we quickly champion that our women are leaders. They have the fortitude, they have the intellect, that drive, the tenacity. We celebrated, just now, as Heroes Day, accomplishments of our women next month, and we celebrate Honor Women's Month, and as the year goes on, we see it. But Miss Berna, as I was thinking of you earlier, and the incredible respect so many of us have, an avid gardener, and just first and foremost, so that literally of the soil, a former parliamentarian, an educator, a businesswoman, wearing all the important hats, but above all, a mother, a grandmother. To us, we look to people, and if you don't mind me saying, despite all those accolades, say, well, but she looks so young. And it's that energy, that enthusiasm, that desire, and I see, Miss Shirley acquiesce the same way. Yes. We have that, so we can be proud. Thank you for taking time out of what is, an incredible busy day I know for you, to share what is.
You're lucky. I was playing bridge. You interrupted my bridge. That's okay.
But may I say, if you teach me one day, you'll have another one to join, because it's a game I love playing cards. I'm not quite that good at it yet, but it's good. So maybe you teach me. Is bridge like rummy? Why not asking lessons now?
No. There are lessons coming up. If you want to learn, I can put you in touch with the right person.
There you go. All right. I can learn to play bridge, because I like to build bridges,
Well, it's great because you have to remember the cards that have played, so it's good for your memory.
Yeah. Well, I put it out there.
Why can't play that then?
No, man. It builds your memory.
Yeah.
My sisters.
Stimulates it.
All right. So we'll get some bridge lessons, but no, let's expand the community and let's extend. I'm very, very, wonderfully pleased to see an active society, a community so engaged in what's happening. So we no longer wait till after the fact and comment about it privately. We're active. Hey, what's going on? How do we be a part of it in a very, very civilized manner? And to have, with great respect to Ms. Shirley, to have people like you willing to stand and be counted. Well, it speaks to who you are as an educator from the early days to, your representation in the Legislative Assembly to right now. So it's encouraging. Maybe it'll inspire more of us, Mom.
Well, thank you. I'm very humbled for that. Because if I believe in something, I do what I have to do, and I'll stick with it until you show me different. I'm not always right. I can be wrong, but I'm going to stand up for what I believe in.
Well, one day Susan said to me, she thought I was wrong, but then she was mistaken. So you see, it happened. No, but that's the thing, the humility. You believe in something, you have a conviction, the stickiness, you want to get it done. But then if there is something better or it can be improved upon, you're still on the same path, but you make improvements. That to me, what people say, good sense. Some of us though are.
But that's what we need in Cayman, some good sense.
All right.
Because obviously it's not prevailing nowadays.
Well, let's hear from you. Give us your counsel, your insight, because I say this with the greatest of respect. We don't listen enough to good people who are sharing anything. But sadly, sometimes when they do, we berate them. We kick them to the curb and ostracize them, and that's unfortunate. So let's hear from you.
Well, what we're talking about today is Smith Bacadere, which is very near and dear to my heart. Everybody knows that my family owns the property, and that's where I grew up. It's now my brother's, and behind him I own the property there too. So I guess they'll be wanting to take that as well. But anyway, we grew up there. So we played. I learned to swim there. I was baptized there. We picked grapes. We did everything Smith Bacadere. We would meet visitors, the few that we had coming. And so we could monitor all the people that were coming and going. Of course, then I went off to university, and then when I came back, I didn't live there and haven't lived there for a long time, but it's still very near and dear. So in 2016, when the property came up for development on the other side of Smith Bacadere, and maybe I should go back and backtrack a little bit about how Smith Bacadere came to be for the people of the Cayman Islands. In the early 1890s, and I don't know the exact date, there was a gentleman that was shipwrecked off of Spots with the Crichton family, and he moved to Smith Bacadere because he wanted to move on. He didn't want to stay in Cayman. So he built a boat using the popnut trees for the ribs and for the rest of the wood, because it's sometimes you can bend it, but it's a fairly good wood for shipbuilding. Built this boat several years, and he sailed away from there, and no one has heard or seen of him since. What happened, we don't know. So it became known as Smith Bacadere. Now, a Bacadere means that it's where shipbuilding takes place. It's actually a French word, from a French word, and that's where ships come and go. Well, he went from there. Other people built ships there, and it was also used for the people from West Bay coming in boats to come South Sound to cut tops, because we had a lot of tops in South Sound for them to make into thatch rope and their straw work and so forth. So that was coming and going. So that's how we got Smith Bacadere. Well, over the years it was used by the public, but it was owned by the Webster family. Well, before my mother passed away in 1977, she and other people from South Sound, Miss Sybil and Captain Paul's family and other people, got together and said, we would like them to donate that because it's been used for the public for so long. Well, they didn't want to give it up, and the government came after them, and they settled out of court, because when they went to court, my mother, who lived there practically all of her life, they asked her how long it had been used by the public, and she said, all my life. Well, at that time, she was over 50. So the judge said, that's all I need to know. So they agreed to settle. They donated the cove, then government bought another 100 feet, and then they bought the parking lot across the street. All of that was Webster's property. So that's how we got it. Now, how it's registered, I don't know. Whether it's to the governor, but as far as I remember, and this isn't a fact, and of course, the people on Saturday and our representatives, they can't tell us how it's registered. But if I remember correctly, it was given to the governor for the people of the Cayman Islands. Okay? But again, that could be a little tricky. If the governor says we have to sell it, it's in his power to sell it. So I don't know anything about that. But in 2016, a development was going in next door with condos, and other people got up and insisted that the government buy it. So Mr. Kurt negotiated with a company, Bronte, and that owned it, and it was purchased for over $5 million for the people. Now, the funds came from the Environmental Fund, which, according to our Constitution, and I'm going to read it for you, Section 18 of our Constitution says the protection of the environment. It says, government shall, in all its decisions, have due regard to the need to foster and protect an environment that is not harmful to the health or well-being of present and future generations, while promoting justifiable economic and social development. To this end, government should adopt reasonable legislative and other measures to protect the heritage and wildlife and the land and sea biodiversity of the Cayman Islands that A. limit pollution and ecological degradation, B. promote conservation and biodiversity, and C. secure ecologically sustainable development and use of natural resources. So this was bought for us 2016. Here it is today, 2020. And on Saturday, none of the people there, Mr. Joey Hugh, MLA Barbara, Mr. Kurt Tibbetts, and Kristen Hayes from the ministry, they couldn't tell us if the covenants had been applied to this other piece of property as Smith Bacadere, because Smith Bacadere has covenants, and we'll go back to those covenants in a minute. But that was bought in 2016. Here it's 2020. No one has followed up to see how it's been registered. Those covenants supposed to be applied to it. We now have a public commissioner of lands. Was this plan presented to them? Because that commissioner there, that commission, they have board members. This should be presented to them. And I understand it has not been presented, and all we can hear is that that commission is being set up. Well, that was set up from 17 or 18, I think it was, or whatever the date is. It's ample time some action be taken. Government drags their feet only in the things they want to drag their feet in, and we need to get this established. So it hasn't gone to them with this this development here. And I will backtrack a little bit and tell you a little bit. So we need to find out if this was bought for the people with the Environmental Fund, how is it registered? It should be combined so that in perpetuity, so that it could not be sold and it must be continued for generations. That's the way it should be registered. And that's one of the things that we're going to ask for now. So they need to read the Constitution and see what they're doing is not correct, because they are destroying things there and it's not following our Constitution. But let's go back a little bit here now. How we formed this group, and Cheryl, anytime you want to step in, please do so.
Oh, you're doing fine.
How we formed this group was on the 17th of January of this year. I read in the paper, actually my daughter read, and she contacted me with the plans. Sorry, there were no plans. It was an article in the Compass saying that the deadline to tender for the enhancement of Smith Bacadere was that day cut off. They put it out on the 30th of December. Of course, then we had a holiday. Then we had Saturday and Sunday. So it was less than 2 weeks that went out for tender. Well,
but it was only on their
bonfire. I think it's their website.
Which, unless you're really a contractor or something that bids on these things, you would never go on that and look. It wasn't put in the paper to our knowledge. It wasn't put on social media to our knowledge. So nobody really knew about this except people that would tender. So that was kind of behind the people's backs, I think.
And that's the way they like to do things. But in addition to that, I just want to thank the Compass for publishing that, because some of them are not happy with the Compass for doing it because it exposed them. So I just want to thank him for doing that to let us, the people, know what was going on. So in 2018 of July, I happened to be off the island. And from then until the beginning of this year, I was sick. I had a knee replacement and couldn't get about and all that. So I wasn't paying too much attention. When you don't feel well, you kind of take a back seat. But I heard about a meeting in the South Sound Community Hall, which we, the people of South Sound, built and donated to the government. And when Mr. Vassell, I call him, was there was an understanding that was for the use of the people of South Sound. So here again, I'm involved in that as well. We have to pay now to use it, but he said we didn't have to pay, but I don't want to get off the subject there. They had a meeting, and MLA Barbara, with a committee, who she formed, and I don't know how she arrived at those members. I guess she kind of wanted people that would go along and agree with her. And the chairperson happened to end up being my brother, Alty Thompson. I call him Alty. We had Shirley on the committee, and she can reply to after. I'm going to give her a chance. Kurt, out of sight, out of mind. If he's out of government, stay out of it, okay? We had another gentleman from Georgetown, but I don't remember who he was. But he's
Whitey, but I don't know his proper name.
Yeah.
I've always only known him as Whitey.
And the other individual was Lem Hulston, whom we've
Barbara's
never
brother,
talked
Chet.
to. And Barbara's brother, Chet, okay? He was the one did most of the work there with his backhoe or whatever equipment
we
it was.
underbrushed with Alty's two gardeners. Chet and I did the chainsawing, cutting and hauling of most of that stuff with Alty's two gardeners.
Right. So I wasn't at the meeting and the plans were presented, but I understand the people told them then they didn't want certain things. So maybe Shirley, you can pick up from there because I was not there and you can give the facts correct.
Okay, so Miss Shirley, after the break, kind of like, just pause, get your popcorn. We're going to come back and you pick up and share with us some more. So we
Be
can
happy to.
All right. Thank you very much. Susan, I don't want to butter on my popcorn, but that's good. All right, we're going to come back. Honestly, it's not, a joke, but we're not smart because you have the excellent company, Miss Shirley Ralston, and they're wonderful, Miss Berna. All right. So we'll get that story when we come back. Stay tuned.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman will be holding a prostate and colon cancer awareness meeting at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay on Tuesday, February 18 at 7:30 p.m. Free PSA testing will be available along with a presentation by guest speaker Dr. Shillingford. PSA testing will be done by Royal Medical and Wellness Center. For more information on prostate and colon cancer awareness, join the Lions Club of Grand Cayman on Tuesday, February 18 at 7:30 p.m. at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay. Your favorite family fun day is back. The 53rd Annual Agriculture Show at the Stacey Watler Agricultural Pavilion in Lower Valley. Theme, Agriculture for the Future. Ash Wednesday, February 26th. Family fun for everyone. Acrobatic show, cooking competitions, produce, plants, pony rides, petting zoo, rodeo, and so much more. Gates open at 7 a.m. with ample parking. General admission is only $10. Children ages 2 through 11, $5. And under 2 are free. Or buy your raffle ticket including entrance fee for a chance to win $20,000 and so much more. For more information, visit them on Facebook or 345agriculture@gmail.com. Put down your iPad and get back to your roots at the 53rd Annual Agricultural Show, February 26th in Lower Valley.
If your business is over here, but your customers are over here, adding more yellow to your business will bring you both right here. With everyone searching yellows, print, online, and mobile app, getting your business noticed is easier than ever. Book your consultation today at findyellow.com.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you so much for joining us, and truly very grateful to both Ms. Bernard Thompson Cummings and Ms. Shirley Rosen for sharing with us. I say this with great deference to all of the men in our society. But if we can continue to celebrate and elevate our women, show them the respect that they have earned, that they deserve from day one to, right now, we would continue to be a great society. And champions like you will really make us inspired, make us proud. So I got my popcorn. Just kidding. I should.
And you didn't share?
No, hey, Susan said it was only a little taste. All right, so pick up the story now. Take us away.
Ms. Berner was talking a bit about the background of why this group was formed,
Mm-hmm.
and back in 2018, Emily Connolly had a public meeting
Mm-hmm.
in the South Sound Community Centre where she presented these grandiose plans of what she planned to do with Smith Barcadier. During that meeting, it was quite heated. It was quite contentious. There were some people that agreed with one or two things, but basically the plan would completely disfigure Smith Barcadier, and that was the bone of contention. And I feel it's safe to say that it is still the bone of contention today. That the property should not be disfigured in any way. It should maintain its pristine state. And the covenants for the parcel that was donated by the Websters has covenants on it that it's not supposed to have commercial activity. It's not supposed to have loud music. It's supposed to be maintained in a pristine condition for the people of the Cayman Islands. And we were told that this newly acquired property that the government purchased in 2016 would have the same covenants. But to date, we don't have any evidence that that has actually transpired other than word of mouth. And that, for me, is not good enough. So after the tender closing came out in the paper, everybody was heated again because we all thought this Smith Barcadier issue had died and gone away. There was no more further talk or action going on there. So everybody thought it had just died and gone away. But when it was announced that the tender bids closed on that day, then everybody went crazy again. And Ms. Berna called a meeting at her house the very next day and invited several people, of which I was one. And to back up a bit, after that first South Sound meeting, Emily Connolly had asked me to be on her committee. For
Smith Barcadier.
For the Smith Barcadier project. And I figure if I can make any difference in this, that's the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I gladly accepted. And the first meeting was at Mr. Altie's house, where I met the other committee members because I had no idea who else was on the committee. And it was proposed that she had $250,000 to spend on Smith Barcadier, and I was absolutely blown away, thinking, what can you do on Smith Barcadier that is going to cost $250,000? anything that you put there that costs $250,000 is going to disfigure the property. But I was only one of 2 members out of 7 that were against this new plan that MLA Connolly had from the one at the at the Southdown Community Center. This one was still outrageous. So the other guy on the committee and I were like, no, the people are not going to accept this. I can tell you right off the bat, the people are not going to be happy with this. And reminded her that, there was supposed to be a second public consultation, which she had said from Smith Barcadere she would have another public meeting. And that never happened. So anyway, at that meeting at Mr. Alti's house, we all eventually came to an agreement that maybe if we underbrushed the property and we could actually see, because we tried to walk through the property and you couldn't. I'm a bush person. I go looking for orchids in the bush with my brother all the time, and I've been on parts of this island that I can guarantee you nobody else but him has been in. And we could not walk through that property because the trees were all falling down in there, and you could only chainsaw your way through. So we agreed to just underbrush the property and then see what we had to deal with, because in my opinion it wasn't good enough to draw a plan for Smith Barcadere off of a lands and survey map. You really needed to look at the property and see where you were going to place things without displacing beautiful trees, without displacing beautiful rock formations, without displacing trees that are endangered. So we did that, and then everything kind of fell away till the tender business came. We did have one more meeting after that, and another plan came up, and that was even more extravagant and mind-blowing than any of the 2 previous ones I had seen. And by this time, the other committee guy that was with me, that was against this craziness, he left, so there was only me in the pond by myself. And in the discussion, I said, guys, I don't know why you don't get that the people are not going to accept this. And Barbara said in that meeting, MLA Connolly, said in that meeting, should I have another public meeting? And as I said, yes, of course I was outnumbered. The rest said no. And one actually said, do it and then have the meeting after. Okay? This is the way things have been working around here for far too long. And it's time that the people get to have a say, by whatever means. So this is why after this meeting that we had at Miss Berna's house, she sent a couple of emails and never got any response. Time is ticking. We thought, something? We need to take action, because the next thing you know, it's going to be done, and we'll know about it after the fact. So we quickly formed a little committee, and found a date to have. We thought it would be lovely to have a peaceful protest picnic where everybody from whatever, tourists, people from Little Cayman, Cayman Brac, anybody could come and have a picnic on Smith Barcadere and look at that beautiful place and enjoy it and try to picture in their head what that could come to if we let this project go through. Completely disfiguring. Had a good turnout, and we have signatures of about 177 signatures of people that came to that meeting that said unequivocally they do not want Smith Barcadere to be disfigured. It is in the government's interest to have a public meeting and poll the people as to what they want on that property. Nobody is against another bathroom, but if it's going to be kept in the state that the one that is there is in, there's no point.
By the way, they were working on it this morning. I saw Public Works people there.
But this when I was doing when I was helping with the underbrushing at the property, we were there for several weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, every day. And I talked to a lot of people that came to Smith Barcadere. From early in the morning, people were up in there showering for 20, 30 minutes. You just see the water just draining out down, which is causing erosion, and it's a waste of water. People were washing clothes. People come there on their lunch hour from construction sites, bathe, go back to work. And that's not what we want our public beaches to turn into. When people have to go to the bathroom, they get in their car and go home, or they go to Wendy's and get lunch and go to the bathroom or something. The public beaches should not be where more is not enough. We're going to have to keep adding more things. Because when we didn't have bathrooms there, people went there all the time anyway. When we didn't have showers, they went there anyway. When we didn't have Wi-Fi, they went there anyway. So what are we going to do? Build gazebos and add kitchens and beds and everything else up inside of there? No. That's not what Caymanians want.
Sorry. Referring back to the meeting that MLA Barber came to my house on the 18th of January, the day after it was published, because I went to her office that day. She called me and I went to meet with her because she was upset that I had gone on the radio. Anyway, I wasn't happy, and then I emailed her back because I was going away on the Monday for I didn't know how long, because there was surgery involved away and I didn't know how long I'd be gone. So she agreed to come on Saturday to my house, and I called a few of concerned citizens that I knew that was near and dear. People like Captain Paul, Edith Yates, I called Shirley, different people. And when they put the plans up on the TV in my house of this elaborate plan that went out for tender, I nearly had a stroke, okay? It looked like it was either New Jersey Boardwalk, that area, or it was South Beach in Miami. So the architect from Public Works was there, and we went through, as he showed the different, not just the rendering, but the plans. These are the things that we told her that we didn't want. We do not want sidewalks. Where are those sidewalks going to lead to, first of all? And if you're going to the beach, you park your car, you go down to the beach. What are we doing with sidewalks? We did not want the cabanas. That only encourages people to sleep over, and then someone will go and take one of the cabanas. It's only good for one person to use a cabana. So it's only going to bring strife. We do not want cabanas. There are beautiful trees there. There's lots of shade. When we were growing up, we had no cabanas. We went to the beach. You put out a towel, you sat down, or you go under a tree. No decks. There's one deck closest to the road that was proposed, and then there was an observatory at the back with 3 little peaks and everything. If you got all this huts there, how you going to see the beautiful ocean? What are you observing? You sit on your grass, or you sit on the iron shore. Sorry, not on the grass, on the sand or the iron shore, and you look out. But we don't want that. No office. There's an air-conditioned office for a non-Caymanian security guard, because, we don't have any Caymanians in security. He'll be locked up in there, or she, all day with the Wi-Fi on. You think they could patrol Smith Barcadere? We suggested a new bathrooms facility with a porch or overhang, with storage for supplies for the bathroom, and maybe a desk for the security guard if they were going to have that, or a person that was going to maintain the property. Make sure toilet paper went out and so forth, garbage dumped. Continue underbrushing the trees for the shade. No boardwalk. There is a walk going right through, in and out. What are we doing with that? What's wrong with the sand? And all putting in grass. Then they were going to import cocoa-plum trees. They were going to cut down the pot nut trees. So we said none of that. They had a big arch facing Altie's house, they'd be the only ones that could see it. And there's a beautiful sign there now. We wanted no grass to be planted. We wanted more trash cans. The car park was to be closed at 8 p.m. And we wanted a handicap mat, a Moby mat, to be placed closer to the second cove, because the first cove, Smith Bacadere itself, there's a rise and it dips down. And if you're handicapped, it's very hard to get in the water and get back up. But the second cove, the newer piece of property, that is more level and it's easier to get in there. So those were the things she promised us, that she would go back with the architect and they would correct.
Okay. We do have a caller join us, Ms. Marna, Ms. Shirley. So invite our callers, keep our discussion and dialogue going.
We're happy to share.
Yes, ma'am. All right, let's go to our phones. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Very well. And yourself?
I am blessed and highly favored. Good afternoon, Ms. Verna as well, my panel. Starley, this is Romelia. Welcome.
Hey, Ms. Romelia.
I do not agree with what they want to do with Smith Cove. That is
Smith Bacadere, please.
That's one of the beaches that are left unique. God give us this beautiful beach. All of our other beaches, they're sold out or destroyed. And why can't Caymanians have something unique the way God made it? I understood there was that Miss Barbara got $2.2 million to do this. Oh my gosh, to enhance this place. Look at her constituents in Windsor Park. Park, the basketball side, the fence is dropping down. Why not build up the community? People in the community have houses that are worn down or lose homes or can't afford to pay their mortgage. Why don't she assist them? Really work for the people. She want to work for the people? Work for the people and assist them. You understand? There's a lot of people homeless, hungry in Windsor Park, not and all over. Why not seek those people? And she has ways of finding those people in Windsor Park. Why don't she focus more on assisting the people that are really in need instead of spending the people's money on Smith Bacadere where it's not needed? It's
Can
not
I just
needed
make
a shower. It is not needed no cabanas. It's not need no walkways. It doesn't need any parking lot. It is beautiful as is. And for the record, there is I think it's environmental health goes in every morning and clean the bathrooms, supply it with tissues. But apparently they didn't came out on Saturday when we had this demonstration out there. But a lady from the environmental health, they came out and clean the bathrooms while we were there on Saturday and supply it with tissues, because I can afford to speak. I am one of them that camps there on during the Easter, and they come every morning and clean the bathrooms and sweep the area off. I am giving them thumbs up for that.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
all of this enhancing that Ms. Connelly wants to do is not called for. She needs to tend to the people in her district and see what they need and what they're lacking. And we have serious people who need inside of her district. Seriously.
Could I just please make one correction there? I don't know if she has been given the $2 million. They denied that about it costing $2 million. But at my house, when we met there, the architect said, when we kept asking how much it was, MLA Barber wouldn't say, and he said it's under $2 million.
First of all, he said, MLA Connolly deferred the question to the architect, and he said $2 million. And then he quickly caught himself and said, it's out for tender. I can't say, but it's less than $2 million.
Those were the
So that's where the $2 million comes from, which at one time it was $250,000, which was that was just outrageous. But to go from $250,000 to $2 million is even way more outrageous.
And also, I would really like to say it was dead wrong for what Alti did. regarding Mario, and Mario was 100% correct with what he said, because me myself was thinking that he has a lot of wasteland in there. Why not sell peace to government? Or government always take what they want. Why don't government take peace from him to finish the parking lot that they have there now? I mean, come on, that definitely was not called for, his behavior at that rally on Saturday.
All right. Well, this is where I think, having Ms. Burnham. But thank you very much for sharing, Mom. All right.
Yes, thank you for your call.
Yeah, Ms. Burnham?
What I wanted to say after that first plan, and I emailed her this list of things that we wanted changed.
MLA Conley.
Right, MLA. I did another one because I didn't hear from this one, asking if, and she still didn't answer. Then I placed a call. 17 days later, she did email back and said, in due course. Well, in the meantime, we decided that we went on the radio. No, I'm sorry. That's not correct. We decided that we were going to push on with this protection for Smith-Bacadere. Well, on the Sunday, the 7th of February, I think it was, I saw something on Facebook that was published by the government with talking about new plans and this and that they would be on the radio, the committee and MLA Barbara, on the 8th, which was the Monday morning. We said, fine. I couldn't listen because I was playing bridge. But anyway, the next day, Wood Radio Station invited us to go on. And we corrected some of those issues that were there then. So I guess they were not happy with what we did. But in the meantime, we decided we were going to try to do this protest, a peaceful protest, get people to come out, hear what was taking place, and that people would have an opportunity to voice their objections. Now, the format that we chose on Saturday was that I invited all the MLAs via email. MLA Barbara agreed to come, and I appreciate that. No one else replied except 3 that said they couldn't come because they were off island. And then Mr. Joey Hugh, he turned up, which we appreciate as well. They brought Tristan Hides from the ministry, and then Kurt and Al T, they came as well, part of the committee. Well, I asked questions, and so did the public as well, and we tried to get them to hold them to answering the questions because we had concerns. We wanted to find out who had encouraged these enhancements. And she still hasn't answered the question properly. I don't think, because they kept asking her. That same lady phoned in, she was there, and she wanted to know who had encouraged these enhancements. And I don't think she got an answer. The 2 parcels of land, we wanted to know if they'd been combined. And of course, they couldn't tell us. And
they said they have, but we don't have anything to show that.
Right. And they couldn't tell us if the covenants were in place. Now, the ideal thing would have been, I would have thought, to come back to the people of South Sound, find out if there were additional covenants, whatever they want to place there, and whatever is done should be in perpetuity so that it continues. That is a historical site, and it's a beautiful site. The main reason why this is being pushed, and everybody feels that way, is because it's for the cruise ships. I have nothing against the cruise ships. I like to cruise myself, and we don't mind some of the cruise people going there. But if we are going in large numbers, we're back to 7 Mile Beach.
Mm-hmm. Well, when we come back from the news break, then let's maybe continue that discussion and ask about some of those questions and the possible answers and unasked questions as well. All right, so please join us after the news break.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news. Access.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
A joint operation carried out at a large-scale construction site in Georgetown by compliance officers from the Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman Work and officers from Customs and Border Control, CBC, results in multiple arrests for various offenses. The joint operation happened on February 10th, and according to officials, the operation was initiated based on information received by the Work Department that there were illegal employment activities taking place on the site. After inspection and examination of several persons on site, officers discovered immigration laws had been breached, which resulted in the arrest of multiple persons for various offenses. The Work Department continues their investigation. In news elsewhere, 2 charter flights carrying cruise ship passengers from Japan landed at military bases in California and Texas overnight, starting the clock on a quarantine period to ensure passengers don't have the new virus that's been spreading in Asia. A plane carrying American passengers touched down at Travis Air Force Base in Northern California before 11:30 p.m. Sunday. A second flight arrived at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas around 2.5 hours later, early Monday. The price of wine is expected to drop to its lowest levels in 5 years, thanks in part to a surplus of California grapes. Combined with a decreased demand for wine, drinkers can expect to get better value for every drop they drink this year. The cheaper prices may even last up to 3 years. Rob McMillan, founder of Silicon Valley Bank's wine division and author of the annual State of the Wine Industry report, predicts U.S. wine consumers will enjoy the best wine retail values in 20 years. Those are your latest updates here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanda Gallego.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman will be holding a prostate and colon cancer awareness meeting at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay on Tuesday, February 18 at 7:30 p.m. Free PSA testing will be available along with a presentation by guest speaker Dr. Shillingford. PSA testing will be done by Royal Medical and Wellness Center. For more information on prostate and colon cancer awareness, join the Lions Club of Grand Cayman on Tuesday, February 18 at 7:30 p.m. at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay.
Hi, my name is Neraya LeBlanc. I am the minister and evangelist to the West Bay Church of Christ on 24 Batabano Road. I would love to take this opportunity to invite you to experience God's family at West Bay for yourself. We are a caring congregation that strongly believes in reaching out beyond ourselves to spread the gospel of Christ. We also take great pleasure in ministering to the needs of our people in our community. As God's called out kingdom people, we are in the business of transforming lives for the Master's use. For more information, you can visit our website at westbaycichurchofchrist.org or call us at 946-9294 or 917-1809.
Declaring the word of the Lord.
Cayman Islands Church of Christ presents Word of the Lord.
Word of the Lord, heard Sundays at 6:30 p.m. on Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us. And if they don't mind me publicly saying how much of an example we should, look to them, Miss Myrna Thompson Cummins, Miss Shirley Roseland, not just as stalwarts, but as ladies in our community who, with great respect, Miss Berna, I think back to Miss Corrine and a lady that just amazing. To you, Miss Shirley, Miss Bradley. You come from, like many of us, we look to our mothers and our grandmothers. Thank God our fathers were, excellent men, but our mothers, our sisters, thankfully some of us, our wives and our daughters, equally. It is that resilience and our resolve in our women, and man, that strength of character, that integrity. If I feel inspired today and walking on the moon for the week, well, I commend you for it.
Thank you. My mother was a very strong lady.
Yeah.
And I am too, but
she just
so
was.
the reason why they call grandmothers because they take over where the mothers leave off and make you walk the chalk line too.
All right.
So
as we continue, and we appreciate not just the history but the explanation, we do have, I think, as Ms. Susan caller will join us. So let's go back to our phones. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, Ms. Verna, she did answer me when I asked who was pressuring her, who was supporting her with this. She said the government. So I asked her, isn't the people who put you and the government there are here saying no? So why are you still going ahead with it? She didn't answer. At the end of the day, she deleted me from my community group chat because I stood up to her about Ms. Cole. She deleted me from the community group chat. So she not peace better. Well, I mean, I just tell her tells the public what she's all about. It's not right. You're supposed to be able to speak freely and give your concerns. And come on, who does that?
Okay, well, just let me say, those days of people not speaking out and being against you, they're over. With technology and education and knowledge that we have now, those days are gone. And people are learning that they are not going to sit down and they are going to speak out. And it's not what they want, it's what we want. They're representing us. This is our property, That was bought with money from our environmental fund, and that was given to the people of the Cayman Islands.
Mm-hmm.
So that is for us to use. So sitting back and not saying anything, those days are gone. I've always been very outspoken, and I'm going to remain that way, and I wish more people would. They jump up and down. They're afraid of things coming back on them. Someone said to me, you're not afraid about people not buying in your store and all of that? I said no. I objected to a developer years ago, and he called me up when I got off the radio, Consuelo, and told me he wasn't buying from my store anymore. I told him, I said, good for you, sir. You're doing what you want to do. I'm doing what I think is right, but I want more than a concrete jungle left for my children and grandchildren. Okay? Of course, he's still buying, but that is fine. And of course, we don't have that development. So,
following up on what the caller said, I was on the committee, and the day that Emily Connolly asked if she should have another public meeting, and I said yes, and that idea was rejected by everybody else. I was no longer included. I was shut out. Nobody even had the decency to call me and say you're not any longer a part of this committee. So you know what you have to do? You just have to take other avenues to make things happen or to keep things from happening. You don't give up. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So I did glean a lot of information from being on that committee that has proven to be very valuable in my being able to go forward in the fight to make sure that this place does not get destroyed, and to bring facts to the people that I know firsthand from being on that committee for the couple of months that I was on. But just people knocking you off of committees or taking you off of group chats and dropping your name from Facebook and defriending you and stuff like that. Don't let that keep you from doing the right thing.
Well, thanks for that caller for sharing. Just for clarity, Ms. Shirley, I listened to the word you shared, and it sounds in the past tense. So two questions. Is the committee still functioning? And just for clarity, are you still on it? Did you resign? Were you removed?
Apparently, the committee is still the same committee that I was once a part of. Early on, like from the very first meeting, the other gentleman that was against the project like myself, he never came back. So I was the lone wolf on the committee, trying to present the people's ideas and wishes and suggestions and recommendations. And after that meeting, I was no longer included in any of their discussions. After that meeting, I did ask Mr. Lumsden if he would come to Smith Barkadeer and look at the property instead of designing a playground, amusement park on that property from a map from Lands and Survey. If he would just come and look at it and see what I had in my vision for him to make plans from, to look at the property, see the trees that you would be destroying or obstructing the view and stuff. And he did come, and he did say to me, I see what you're talking about. I see what you mean. But nothing changed. It went worse.
Right. So if I then may ask, just one from the perspective, Ms. Bernie, you shared earlier, the intent from the early 70s, given that the property, the Smith Barkadeer property, was used up to that point for almost ever in a day, from the 1800s, and the intention then seemed to have been that this would have been the will of the people for it to be for the use of the people. And fast forward to today, my understanding is that we have one of the best sort of land registry systems in the world in terms of ownership.
Absolutely.
Again, I'm not trying to, offend anybody or confuse, but for your comments earlier that the government officials, civil servants, politicians say, well, we don't know who owns it. Isn't that relatively easy when you look at the land? It should be there on it. It belongs to, can you explain that?
Well, I would have thought when the second piece was bought in 2016, that when they went to register it in government's name, that those covenants would have been applied at that time. So I don't understand, but there are tricks in all trades, so I don't know.
Okay.
But let's go back to the plan.
Right.
Shirley saw one plan in the South Sound Community Centre at that meeting. Okay? Then another one came out
when we met for the first committee meeting at Mr. Altie's house.
Okay. Then the next plan that came out was in the paper that went out for tendering. Then we had the plan, which was the 17th of January. We had a different plan that came out now on the 8th of February. So which plan are we to believe? Which one are we going by?
Just the 17th of some month later, and there's 4 iterations?
Yeah. We have
it's like 4 or 5 different
Okay.
plans that I've seen.
Right.
All right.
So what we asked them, which one of those plans went out to tender? And it was interesting because on Saturday it came out that they didn't know Public Works was putting it out a tender. Well, if that is your division, Georgetown South, why don't they come to you and say such and such a thing? And we're putting it out to tender. We would like you to take a look at this before it goes out, blah, 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 whatever. Then they also said that tendering can be changed. Well, a lot of changes, but that costs money. So there again, why don't you do it properly the first time? So we don't know which one of these plans to go by now. So they have they did say there, Tristan Hyde said on Saturday that it would go up on the planning website. I did not check this morning. I do not know. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But then again, how can you trust them? That's how I feel, and I know a lot of people feel that way. Why I'm saying that is because when we got there on Saturday morning, there were stakes down on the other piece of land. Yeah. And this is the way they're getting around things. They're saying, oh, that's not Smith Barkadeer. We're not touching Smith Barkadeer. And that's not correct because it falls into Smith Barkadeer as well. Why are they differentiating if it has been combined in one piece? So there again, can you trust them? What I want to say there was that when we got there, the stakes were there. 2 big orange stakes with sprayed orange paint. When we asked him what those stakes, that they were moving ahead because they said it would start in March, he denied it. He said, oh, that was so we could see the parking lot. That wasn't even close to the parking lot. So don't take us for idiots and think that we're not paying attention
Well,
and you trying to cover what you have done.
What's really ironic is that government has had from July of 2018 to now to have another public meeting and bring it to the public's attention what their new plan is, what they plan to put out to tender or whatever. Nothing like that happened. But in a couple of short weeks, we got a committee together, had a public meeting where we could find out the pulse of the people and see what they want, what they would agree with, what they have seen, and maybe they saw something we haven't seen. And the meeting was kind of taken over by the government and the committee because Mr. Hyde told me that they brought plans, they had stakes put down so that when this meeting happened, they thought that they were going to walk people through the property and show them everything. I'm like, no, this was our meeting. We didn't plan anything like that. It would have been nice for them to know that we were going to have a meeting and say, well, can we do this? We would like to show people. Can we have that opportunity in your meeting?
Right. Well, back to your earlier comment, do it first and then tell them about it after.
Right.
We do have a caller join us, though. Miss Myrna Thompson-Cummins, Miss Shirley Rolston are our guests. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Good afternoon, Mrs. G. How are you, Mom?
And this is Georgia Lee Banks, and good afternoon to Miss Berna, and good afternoon to Miss Shirley.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Ladies of whom I am so proud. I can't tell you how proud I am of both of you ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Georgette. We're very proud of you, too.
Well, my dear, let me tell you something. What I have to say is short, sweet, and to the point. Leave Smith Barcadere alone. It is perfect as it is because God in heaven made it.
I agree.
And everything that He made, including all you people there, and even this old lady, Georgette, He made perfect. Whatever happened to us afterwards, like He says, our bodies are temples of the living God. We do that to our temples. We do that to our bodies. But everything that God made was perfect. Leave Smith Barcadere alone. I have a wheelchair, and I'll get somebody to put me in that, and I would head a march and go up there if somebody would follow behind me.
We'll be behind you. Don't worry.
We will be right beside you too, Miss Georgette.
Well, I hope so. Why is it that everything on this island that is beautiful and we have enjoyed for so long, people want to come and destroy it? Smith Barcadere, the only thing my friends and I didn't do up there was sleep there in the night. We'd go up there early in the morning, stay all day. It was no plastic bags then, but you would get a paper bag and whatever fruit was in season, mangoes, cocoa plums, guineps. We would take that and we would get in that sea until our skin was shriveled up. And we would eat our little fruit. And then we would, and who has to wash off their feet? We would just brush off our feet. The word sneakers was not on this island then. People wore kids. And my friends and I, those who walked and those who rode bicycles, we just brushed our feet off, put on our kids, and rode back home. And we were so hungry. The only thing we didn't do was eat our mothers when we got home.
That's right.
Yes, well.
So, don't tell me about enhancing Smith Barcadere. And don't you dare be calling it Cove.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Cove.
Exactly.
It is Smith Barcadere. And my cousin, Captain Paul Lee Hurston, can tell you why it's named Smith Barcadere, because of that man that built a boat, a little boat out of the brook, not one that had got wrecked.
And the pot-nut trees.
Leave it alone. Earthquake, more things than earthquakes, I believe, going to come to this island. If those in authority, they're not sleeping. I believe they're in comas. But I hope they wake up out of their comas. And remember, they are in the house to take care of us. Please start doing it and stop trying to destroy everything that we love. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Calling. And good words of wisdom.
And Miss Georgia, I'm sure that you would probably agree with me that if people showed you a picture of Smith Barcadere from when you were a young girl and showed you a picture of Smith Barcadere today, you would still recognize it as the same place. It's one of the few places left on this island that any age person can look at a picture of it from 100 years ago and look at a picture today and still recognize it as Smith Barcadere. And that is what we need to strive to do more of, is maintain the things that are truly Caymanian, truly the things that Caymanians relate to, identify with, and hold dear in our hearts, in our culture, in our very existence. We are losing everything that is ours, and it's time for that to come to a halt. So everybody needs to get on board the machine that is trying to save some things for the future of our people.
We do have another caller, Ms. Brenner.
Okay.
And Ms. Shirley, good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Afternoon, guys.
Afternoon, sir. How are you?
Doing Roger Marion here. I don't say too much. I'm listening. They're blaming me for the earthquake.
That's only people who speak, man.
The vibes is the vibes. I live with vibes and I live with Jah teaching, so that's how it is.
All right.
But, you know, I drive a cab and I'm on the road right now, and let me tell you, when you see the traffic increase every day and the amount of construction going on here, what things will come to us, you know. I'm worried now about when you get some good heavy rains again, how many more sinkholes will open up around here. You don't realize all that flooding can cause that again. But anyway, I think what we need to do now, Art McLean mentioned it some time ago. It was in the papers or on the radio or something. I think I saw it in the papers or heard him saying it in the LA bit. And what he said was right. It is time to lock immigration doors to marriage only. Or else, what we can have here in the next 10 or 15 years, an overpopulated island, a third world island, and no stay-over tourism. That's what we can get out of this. Because I drive tourism here, and I've been driving people that come in from 1968. I've been meeting people from 1968 saying that, you know what, I think it's going a little bit too far. Even though I've been coming the last 20 years, because with what's all this traffic, right now I'm crawling in traffic by A.L. Thompson roundabout. Back there, I got to do this 10 to 12 times a day. Just crawl back to the airport and then crawl back out. You're building a road somewhere behind CUC, I understand, to come out somewhere by the roundabout by Dart School. When that's done, it'll be a big relief because you can come through there. But I've been calling Minister Joey Hugh now, and his secretary finally called me and said he's off the island. And he not called me back yet because he told me sometime they were putting it in temporary so that we could use it to get in and out of the airport a lot easier up in here. The traffic is becoming a nightmare here. I mean,
yes, sir.
We have to do something about it.
Well,
it's only 50,000 acres of land we're sitting on. How much more can you do?
Right.
But this bunch that they got in LA, that is merged government, most dangerous thing ever happened to us was merged government. Because they went in with one thing in mind. Let's pack our pockets up now. Because we probably won't get back in. And it would have to be a damn idiot that would go and vote for a PPM member or a UDP member again after two governments merge. They didn't get mine in the last election because I spent the right with them a long time ago. But anyway, that's all I got to say. I'm in traffic. You all have a good day.
Thank you for calling.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Burnham.
What I wanted to say, going back to Smith Barcadere, he has a point about the traffic. One of the things that they were pushing on Saturday is the parking lot. We need additional parking. I'll be the first to say around there, because on a Sunday it is very, very bad. why they didn't think about that before they thought about these enhancements. Because Smith-Barcadere is overstressed now as it is with people. However, they're using it. But why are they using it? First of all, our public beach is not public anymore. Nobody goes there because they're being harassed. There are no Caymanians there operating. You got to pay to get a chair. You got to do this and that. Who wants to go there with your family and do that? And they're coming to alternate places. So Smith-Barcadere is being used more. Then on the government's webpage for the Department of Tourism, one of the sites that they have there is Smith-Barcadere, a beautiful picture with people swimming, beautiful as always, off the ship at Smith-Barcadere. And I want to share this. Like I said, I'm not against the cruisers. But come on, something has to be left for us local people. They are encouraging them. They said on Saturday, I don't remember which government or representative or committee, I think it might have been Tristan, said that the Department of Tourism pushes all beaches. Well, why are they making it so blatant off the ship at Smith-Barcadere? And it says south of Georgetown, near the ports, you can step off your Caribbean cruise and right on to the beach. Also known as Smith Cove, Smith-Barcadere in the South Sound of Grand Cayman is terrific for photo ops and phenomenal for snorkeling, all with the convenience of public restrooms, picnic benches and outdoor showers. And there's further description, and it ends with gift shops. Okay? So, are they talking about gift shops in the area? Are they talking about gift shops going in? We know it's not supposed to have, the covenant for Smith-Barcadere is not to have any commercial activity. So, if this is combined, why are they promoting gift shops? And it's one piece. So is it going to be called Smith-Barcadere, or do we have two parcels? Like we have two phases that they say are stages that it's going to be enhanced. When we pressed them on Saturday, or when I did, I should say, to find out what was one phase or stage, or if it was two stages, they said one. But again, how can we trust them? I don't trust them, I'm sorry. Because if they're presenting to us one phase here now, that they're going, what went out to tender, that's only phase one. So unless they're planning to change it, like they said, there is another phase. So I don't trust them. I'm sorry.
Now, when we come back from the break, let's talk more about it, because we see in the print media, perhaps elsewhere, the only reason why I reference print media, unlike radio, it's immediate right now. Print, it takes a couple of minutes to get it on. Presumably, the plans are being put on hold, I guess, perhaps since maybe the occurrence on Saturday or the like. But where are we now, and what is it that the public should be looking at? I say this with the greatest of deference. We commend people like you, but the public, of asking questions, getting involved, getting informed, and saying, hey, what can we do? Someone referenced just now, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, walks like a duck. Well,
it's a duck.
Yeah. Let's pause and take a break. When we come back, it might be duck à l'orange, but who knows? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman will be holding a prostate and colon cancer awareness meeting at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay on Tuesday, February 18 at 7:30 p.m. Free PSA testing will be available along with a presentation by guest speaker Dr. Shillingford. PSA testing will be done by Royal Medical and Wellness Center. For more information on prostate and colon cancer awareness, join the Lions Club of Grand Cayman on Tuesday, February 18 at 7:30 p.m. at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay.
Hi, I am Dr. Lee, Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health. The Ministry and the Department of Public Health, along with our partners, are working hard to help protect residents from the novel coronavirus. Did you know that following travel advisories is especially helpful in controlling infections? So, avoid travel if you have a cough, flu-like symptoms, and a fever. It's also important to practice general infection prevention measures at all times. That means frequently wash your hands and avoid close contact with people suffering with acute respiratory symptoms. To read more about the Public Health's travel advisory and other updates, please visit hsa.ky.
Red Sky at Night. Terrific live music, actors, dancers, comedians, and poets. Over 100 artists and artisans selling paintings, crafts, jewelry, and accessories, as well as delicious local food. Red Sky at Night at the Harquail Cultural Center. Saturday, February 29th, 4 p.m. to midnight. Don't miss out. Tickets on sale now at eventpro.ky. A CNCF production. Sponsored by Hurley's Media, Pepsi, Caribbean Airlines, and Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman News.
Cayman officials hold a press briefing due to the spread of the coronavirus.
Cruise ships are conducting screening on all joining passengers.
We must stop accepting everything that the world throws at us.
Freedom of religion is not a justification to incite people to this type of activity.
In honor of my grandfather, Mr. David Gerard Powell.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for listening, but a very special thanks to Miss Bernard Thompson Cummings and Miss Shirley Rolston for sharing with us. Because I think, being informed in such a civilized, respectful way with such respectable ladies helps us to get a perspective. So thanks very much. This can be, like many things, an emotive issue, but maybe sometimes we understand why potentially it could be emotional charge if there is such high sentimental value, such a desire to look at the cultural and the historical context. But I would also maybe ask, is it then that as a people to date, just generally speaking, we've become too complacent? We just believe that somebody else is going to do something, this is how it is, and we are, maybe laissez-faire about it. We're just a little bit too careless.
And we've always been trusting of the government to do the right things as well.
Okay.
There's a lot of things, but we've woken up in a lot of ways now. We've realized we can't trust them to do the right things for us. And we've realized that being quiet doesn't work anymore. And if we don't speak up and if we don't try to correct things, we're going to have to sit back and take what's shoved down our throats. What's happening now is the generation that's coming up behind us are a lot more, they're a lot more in touch with what's happening, a lot more in tune to what's going on. They are a lot more savvy with tech things than we are. They have information at their fingertips that they can teach us a lot of things. I, for one, want to listen. I want to know what they want and what they see and what they know. And because of that, I have become more passionate in the fight to leave something for them. I don't want to turn stuff over to them that they have to undo and try to redo. I don't want to leave our country in shambles for the young people to have to try to fix. I want to preserve what we have and hand them over something that they can say, thank you, thank you.
I guess in the lyrics of one of the Bella Jewel songs, I hope we're not the reason for their unanswered prayers. We do have another call. Hey, good afternoon, welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, Julian. Good afternoon to Ms. Berna and her guests here.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
You ladies doing a wonderful job. Keep up with it.
Thank you.
If we stop, we lost. On a same topic but different note, can anybody tell us since Miss Sharon Ralston is that Miss Sharon Ralston we got there?
Miss Shirley
Ralston, yeah.
Yeah, we want to find out if she can give us an update on the results that was off from the Port referendum, because that would give people a great insight as to where we're going, because to see where we're making any headway, because you know how money can buy anything these days now. So.
Well, I can tell you I don't have any results yet, but I can tell you that from the hearing that went to court in January, the results were the judge's ruling was supposed to come in last week. It was delayed by a week. So on Wednesday, day after tomorrow, on Wednesday at 10 a.m., the ruling will come down. It's in court number 5, which is in the Kirk building, and the public, it's open to the public. So that is when the ruling will come down. And for all those that are interested, I would encourage everyone to come. I'm excited to hear the ruling because this whatever it is, we'll at least have a direction to go in from Wednesday. Exactly. And so if it is in my favor, we go in one direction. If it's not in my favor, we go in a different direction. But at least we will be able to go together in whatever direction that may be. So I'm looking forward to having closure on that part of the issue. I can tell you that I don't give up easily. So whatever that ruling may be, I can guarantee you that we'll have another road to take, and that's what we'll do.
Okay, well, thanks for that update. Maybe it might miss read, but I thought I've seen on social media that it was going to be this morning at 10. So maybe it wasn't, but that's why I asked the question. I thought by now we would have had a verdict if it was this morning, 10 o'clock. But
no, there was some confusion last week as well, because some thought it was going to be on the 10th of February, and some thought it would be the week of the 10th. So there's 5 days there that could have been, that the ruling could have come down. But I think it was last Monday or Tuesday, it was announced that the ruling would come on Wednesday, which is the 19th, and it will be at 10 o'clock in court number 5 at the Kirk House.
Okay, well, thanks for that clarification. So I hope they would invite the public to all come out. They all need to come out and protect Kim Ann.
Yeah, I hope it's not like when the ladies went with the beach.
This morning, I thought it was...
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, I thought it was today ruling, but it was not today ruling.
So it's Wednesday, this Wednesday.
Tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for that too. And we were going to ask towards the end, but all right. So this Wednesday, another community sort of issue. Ms. Brennan?
I wanted to say that on Saturday, the committee and all the other representatives they're interested in, they're pushing for the parking lot. I know we need the parking. However, over $5 million that we paid. Why are we going to take a beautiful spot like the additional cove and turn it into a parking lot? If we need some more parking, it can go to the side there. But again, we're reluctant about putting in that parking lot because we're afraid that they're going to use it for busing the people from the cruise ship to come there. So right now, we have this old Jolly Roger, I call it. I don't know what the name is. That can't reverse. That needs to come off the road. It's wobbling, and it's not fair. It can't reverse. You know what you have to do? They come Smith Backadere, telling a whole bunch of lies. They say that my brother's house belonged to Bill Gates right on down, and that a local Caymanian ended up with it. But they have to go and turn around in Webster's because they can't reverse. They have no seat belts, and they're wobbling because it's just on to one little Jeep. How in the world that got permission, I don't know. So we've got them coming, okay? If we start getting the people off the cruise ship, we've got additional people with bus loads, but it can be underbrushed, and there can be parking over to the right, closer to Grand Old House, but be left in its natural state. When the plan was presented at my house, we all objected. They claimed they had a special engineer design it with big boulders and drainage where it could drain into the sea. Okay? Why? It doesn't settle water there to the best of my knowledge. They were going to use pavers. With the pavers, you know what you get? Weeds. Then you hear we got to use weed killer in between the pavers to keep it nice. We don't want that, okay? They need to fix up the parking lot across the street. They need to move the boulders further in, and they need to take up part of the sidewalk next to the crossing that's there. They have taken up a whole
on the land side?
No, on the seaside.
Okay.
When you come across from the crosswalk from the parking lot, going toward the beach, on your right-hand side, there's a big sidewalk, probably 15 feet. We don't need that. They get off the sidewalk right there, go straight in. That 15-foot piece, we could get 2 more cars there possibly, at least another one. Move the boulders, move it further in so that they're not on the road parking on a double line. And that would eliminate a lot of the traffic issues there because people, that happened on Saturday. A Jeep pulled up, they were tourists, they parked on a double line, got out and went in. Well, a car coming from the same side on the left-hand side, they have to stop, and cars coming, they can't pass. Where are the police? We can't expect them to be there 24/7 enforcing. But there are other ways that we can get better parking in that area.
All right. We have another caller join us as we go to our phones. Miss Bernie and Miss Shirley are our guests. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Hi, good afternoon to you and your guests, your wonderful guests. Thank you so much, Barna and Shirley, for all the efforts you both are making.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it more than words could ever say. We have to save Smith-Barcadere, and I agree with almost everything that you all have been saying about it. We do not need no more parking space there, I would say. No parking lot for sure, because all that is going to do is encourage more people to come there to finish overcrowding the place. We can't even get to swim there anymore for the crowds that be there. It is absolutely ridiculous. It has been taken away from us. When government should have saved the West Bay Road for us and the 7 Mile Beach, they gave it away to the rich foreign investors. Now make them accommodate them. That's who needs to accommodate these people off the cruise ship and elsewhere. Leave Smith-Barcadere for Georgetown people, residents, and some of the other ones that might want to come there from some of the other districts and South Sound. It is for South Sound people. We have absolutely nothing to take away everything that we have and give it to the foreigners.
You're right.
They don't care about seeing the sunset, going in the sea, or walking on the beach. They prefer to be with the rich foreign investors where they can get a picture in the paper and on the TV holding a glass of liquor or whatever it is in their hand. I'm not interested in that. The foreigners don't interest me. They're not doing me any good. All they ever did was come here and cause the cost of living to go up 100 times more than what it was. We are paying out our air, nose, and mouth electricity, water, and gasoline, and they will never try to get that put down, wasting money on operate to do foolishness. Doing absolutely nothing. What they need to spend money on, they're not spending it on, and this rubbish about they didn't know it was going in the paper. Who can believe that? I wish they'd stop playing.
Taking us for
I don't
idiots.
know what.
Yes, ma'am.
We're not stupid. All the hell they do is waste time doing foolishness. You can keep.
All right. Hey, thanks much, Mom. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate your call.
Thank you.
And this listener joins us by WhatsApp and writes, says, I do not agree to any additional parking on the seaside of Smith-Barcadere. I think they should lease, if possible, the land besides the parking lot from owners to use until the owners wish to develop it. So a short-term solution to leasing it, if that's possible, on the land side, no more on the seaside.
But what I'm saying is, for like the lady just called in, the more parking we get there, the more people. It is stress now. If you go there, you can't get there. And if we put more parking, it's encouraging more people to come, which I'm not saying that they can't come. But how many people can swim in 2 little coves?
Overuse and then abuse of the space? Okay. Carrying capacity, we hear people talking about?
Exactly.
All right.
They're permitting weddings, and if we have a baptism, and what about the stay-over visitors? They like to go there. 2 people in that area have house guests. They like to go there. I personally, when I go there, I gotta go soon in the morning with my grandchildren by 8 o'clock so I can swim. Otherwise, you can't get in.
It's overused, huh?
Yeah.
All right. We do have another caller as we go to the phones. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Good.
Hey, my friend, how are you today?
What a show.
Well, listen, when I have the wonderful company of Miss Berna, I mean, Miss Shirley will tell us equally. Nothing better. So, I agree.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Berna. And I didn't catch her name.
Yeah, Miss Shirley Rolston. Yeah, Miss Shirley, I will say, well, you know what, Miss Martin, she's an educator, a former parliamentarian, so, you know, we sit in awe.
No, but it's not about me. It's
no, it just...
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yes, sir. But you were called in, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was late that day to the protest, but I managed to catch some part of it online.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very educational. I grew up there. When my son goes to swim, he learns to swim. 5 years old, he always ready to go there. He'd rather go there than public beach. He don't feel the
love.
Yeah, the love. The love or the culture, when he at public beach. Even when he walk in the stand, he know that, like, Daddy, what kind of sand this is? I say, boy, that sand from somewhere else.
Very sad.
Isn't that sad?
I know.
That's sad.
That's very sad.
That's very sad to me. And to me, when you have people like, you standing up to them, that makes me know, somebody is really ready for us. Really ready to take on what we went on about, what we feeling about here.
But we all have to stand together or we'll all fall together. That is a fact.
Well, please make sure that you sign the petition, okay?
Definitely.
We have it started. They'll probably say, that they're not paying attention to that, but we can only try, see what happened with the port. But we do it together.
Let me clarify on the petition. On the at the protest on Saturday, we have given the government the benefit of the doubt to do the right thing, to listen to the people and leave Smith Barcadere the way it is. But I will tell you unequivocally that there is enough support that if we have to take this to a people-initiated referendum as well, it will be done. So just to get a pulse of the people that day on Saturday, we had people sign a paper if they wanted Smith Barcadere left the way it is. And we got, I think the paper said there were about 200 people there. You have to understand a lot of them were children as well. But 177 people signed this this paper that they do not want Smith Barcadere touched. And I think 177 out of about 200 people is quite a significant amount of people that their voice should be heard.
Yeah, we need more, and definitely one thing I have to say, you see greediness taking over us like the coronavirus on one of them cruise ships. Straight up, because when you see the greediness that going on, and you have to sit back and leave it alone, like you hear people calling in, talking about their livelihood depends on the tourism. Who fault that is? That's my fault. That's not my fault. That your bread and butter coming from somebody on a cruise ship. That's not my fault, And I shouldn't have to suffer, and my son shouldn't have to suffer because you can't make your money some other how.
Because you put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, that's them, and I'm sorry. My father told me, make it $20, go home.
But
if you don't make it, just go home.
We are not against the cruise ship and tourists. We need to be very diverse. Look at what's happening with the blacklist here with us now. We can't just depend on the financial centre. We want tourists, but we must have a plan, follow that plan. We must decide, are we going to cater to cruise ship people, or are we going to try to cater more to overnight people? The overnight people, I feel, and according to statistics, spend way more money. They have to pay the hotel. You got people working there. They have to have food. They got to go out to restaurants. They got to rent cars.
Taxi,
so it
bus,
spins
gas
around.
station.
That money moves around. But are we getting any benefit from the cruise ships? Very little.
And the thing of it is, our quality of life has to be, you hear all about stayover tourism and cruise tourism. What happens to our quality of life? That is not even being included in the mix whatsoever. we
getting
have a
stuck.
standard of living that we need to be able to maintain for ourselves. We have our culture and our history and our heritage that is very near and dear to our hearts that we have to stand up for. That is a part of our quality of life. Caymanians are getting more stressed out, more poor, and giving up hope because everything seems to be going against them. And that has got to stop. It's time for people to make the changes that we want to see. And to do that, you have to be a part of the change. So I encourage everybody to start to be more active and get more educated on what's going on and make your voice count. Those of you who are not registered to vote, I cannot do enough to encourage you to go and register to vote. It's the easiest thing in the government of these islands to do, and it's free. Go and register to vote. It is your only opportunity to have a voice and to make your voice count for the changes that we need and want. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I'm not going to bother voting next election. I'm not going to bother vote because my vote don't count. We cannot have that attitude. We have got to find people that we can count on to make the changes that we need, and those are the people that we have to show up at the polls and vote for. Otherwise, the same ones that are in there, their fan club shows up and votes for them and they get back in. And then who's to blame? Us.
Anything else you want to share with us, sir?
Yeah, the last thing I got to tell you, when I look at them cruise ships, I imagine everybody on our cruise ship flushing our toilet at the same time in our water. And that's what we get left with when they're cruising out.
All right, thanks very much.
All right. To be honest with you.
Ms. Burnham?
I want to say that people are very sensitive to Smith Barcadere. I can't stress that enough because of the beauty. You have a call?
No, I do apologize. I missed Miss Susan's cue. We have the break to take. Apologies, Miss Susan. Short break. So we've got to take that. So please join us after the break.
Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walkers Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Marianne Radmacher once said, "As we work to create light for others, we naturally light our own way."
Calling all SIXA members. The Cayman Islands Civil Service Association annual general meeting for the Sister Islands is Thursday, February 20th in Cayman Brac at the District Administration Building in Stake Bay in the conference room located on the second floor starting at 12:15 p.m. A light lunch will be provided.
Come out and vote for your two BRAC representatives who will serve on the 2020 Management Council. Hear the President give his annual report, ask your questions, share your ideas, and make suggestions. You can also email your questions in advance of the meeting to cicsa@gov.ky. There will also be a door prize raffle of a Cayman Airways voucher, and the first 35 persons to sign in at the meeting will get a free gift.
Members, please make every effort to attend this very important SIXA annual general meeting for the Sister Islands on the BRAC Thursday, February 20th at the District Administration Building in Stake Bay in the conference room located on the second floor starting at 12:15 p.m.
Do you think my kid is not into that? When it comes to marijuana and other drugs, well, think again. Being a teen in this country isn't easy. They face a lot of pressures and might overlook the values you taught them. Even the teen least expected can be tempted to try drugs. As a parent, you are the biggest influence in your kids' lives. So when you're talking to them, be clear and firm about the subject of drugs. Listen to them. They might be at a crossroad and need your help. Talk to your teens about drugs before someone else does. For more information, call 949-9000 or visit us at www.ndc.ky. This message is brought to you by the National Drug Council.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for calling us, and thanks again to both Miss Berna Thompson-Cummings and Miss Shirley Rolston for joining us. Ladies, I believe we have another call online, and thanks to our listeners, not only for listening but for calling and sharing a perspective. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon to Miss Berna, and good afternoon to Miss Shirley as well.
Good afternoon, Mom.
I commend you, ladies. 1,000%, not 100, 1,000%.
Love that.
Because right now here in West Bay, across from the West Bay Cemetery, we were told that it's going to be some restrooms for the people that use the Cemetery Beach for snorkeling and diving and things like that. Anyway, whoever been working at them, I think it was Public Works. I'm not for sure because I'm so disgusted with it. Has been at it for months, hasn't finished yet. Then they clear down the piece of swamp land because it's really built on swamp. I'm not going to call it no wetlands. I was taught swamp because that's what it is. And they cleared down next to it now. I don't know what it is for. We have 4 politicians, and not one of them has come out and told the West Bay public what are these 2 things that looks like restrooms. We heard they're restrooms, but we're not told that they're restrooms if they know, because we're hearing how much the government knew about this Smith back there. Now, just us keep on fighting, and Miss Shirley, it's good to vote yes, but if we vote and keep putting the same people back in, we can't expect different results.
Exactly.
So I encourage everybody, if we're going to save something for our grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and God only knows great-great-grandchildren, they are looking at us to fight for them, you know.
Definitely.
But it don't seem like a lot of people understand. Well, you can talk as much as you want on the radio, but that don't mean nothing because nobody don't listen to you. I was told that up until Saturday afternoon. So I'm sorry if the politicians don't want to hear my mouth and keep my son from a job, but I am going to speak because I have some nieces, I have some grandnieces, and I am going to speak because when I pass on, because our lives is not a guarantee, when I pass on, I want to know that them and my friends' children and whoever else said, well, at least she fought a good fight. Don't let it be like that West Bay Road that we all fought for. And who was involved in that was also Mr. Ezzard, Mr. Arden, and Mr. Gilbert McLean came to march with us. And we were made fun of by our own West Bay politicians, you hear? When we were fighting for it, now it's closed off, and we're still sitting in traffic many, many times, especially if it's an accident. Keep this going. If some countries, if this was other countries, it would be rioting. Do we want that? It may come to that.
Can I suggest?
Yes, ma'am.
Youngsters not gonna take all of this all the time. So thank you very much, both of you ladies. And
can you just 1 second, please, ma'am? May I suggest to you, who is the representative by the cemetery where this construction is going on?
Minister Tara, I think.
Yeah.
Well, then kindly go to her. Not only you, get a group together. Go and demand you want to know what's happening there. She's responsible to report to you all, you know. You elected her. She's working for you.
Every one of them. We elect them and we pay them. That's the sad part about it. But listen, there is something as important as this coronavirus. They're not even telling the people. I have elderly people that I keep in contact with all the time because I love them. One day I hope to get their age. They calling in. This is a really bad flu, you know, because they do not know what it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They do not know, so they call it a really bad flu. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, Miss Burnett?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I thank you very much, and I'm not going to hold up any longer, but I'll keep on fighting as long as God
Well, try to
gives me breath.
find out what's happening. And if you're not happy, do what we're doing. Try to prevent it.
And we'll come and help throw water on your fire as well. This is what I keep telling people every day that I get the chance. There was a time, you know, when we didn't have phones and stuff, and nobody knew what was going in the different districts, and they had to fight their own battles for themselves. It's not that way anymore. We are a country. We need to stand united. And if West Bay has a fire that needs putting out, we need to come from Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and everywhere to put that out. Same thing, if Little Cayman has a fire, we all need to go and throw water on their fire and help them put that out too. We have to stand together as a people and face the giants together.
What I would like to find out, why are we building restrooms for the beach? You're wasting water. People go there and bathe. That was one of the things we told her we do
Wash
not
clothes.
want showers. They shower, they bathe, they wash their clothes. I saw Saturday, people wash off like 3 children, give them a bath there. Take them home and bathe them. Don't you have water at home?
Yeah. Maybe we could, if possible, speak to some of that social dynamic with the use of water and how precious it is, but also the cost and the other things. Maybe after we come back from the break, what potential could have been an intent as something good is maybe not so as we analyze it. All right, let's pause to pick up our headline news. When we come back, we invite you not only to listen, but to contribute. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international, this is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
The Chamber of Commerce 2020 Careers Expo gets underway this Friday and is expected to bring over 1,000 students and school leavers to the University College of the Cayman Islands, Sir Vassal Johnson Hall. The expo opens to the public at 10 a.m. Attendees will have the opportunity to speak with over 30 businesses and organizations that are presenting scholarship, education, internship, and career opportunities. The Chamber has been organizing this annual event since 1994. In news elsewhere, 2 planes carrying hundreds of U.S. citizens from a coronavirus-hit cruise ship in Japan have arrived in the U.S. One plane landed at a U.S. Air Force base in California and the other in Texas. Passengers will be isolated at military facilities for 14 days. There were about 400 Americans on board the Diamond Princess. The ship, with some 3,700 passengers and crews, has been in quarantine since February 3rd. Meanwhile, China has reported 2,051 new cases in the past 24 hours. Of those new cases, 94% were from Hubei province, the epicenter of the outbreak. At least 20 people, many of them women and children, have been killed in a stampede in southeastern Niger, reports say. Refugees from neighboring Nigeria were queuing for food and money in the town of Adefa when the incident took place, according to local sources. 10 other people were injured. The region is home to around 120,000 people displaced by years of violence carried out by Boko Haram militants in northeastern Nigeria. And a visibly upset Sir Elton John has been forced to cut short a concert in New Zealand after falling ill with walking pneumonia. The musician, 72, lost his voice midway through his set at Auckland Mount Smarts Stadium on Sunday. He appeared to break down in tears as he leaned on his piano and shook his head. The audience gave the English singer a standing ovation as he walked gingerly off stage, helped by several assistants. Those are your latest updates here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanda Gallego.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us, and I'm extremely grateful both to Miss Shirley Rolston and Miss Berna Thompson Cummings for giving us so much of their time, and to all of our listeners. And I've said this a number of times. It's lunchtime. I don't know about other people. Even if you had something to eat before you come here, you're here for a long time. You still get a little hunger, right?
So yeah, because you didn't bring chocolate.
We're fine. We're passionate about this. We need to stand behind this, and we need to take charge.
Now, with that, and listening to just what you shared, you're talking about we as a people, not just we and it's one person or two people or 20, but thankfully that somebody's willing to say, well, wait a minute, what about this? So there have been a number of questions. We had a meeting, if I may call it that, a gathering on Saturday. Things were said and shared. There seems to be, well, what now? What's happening now? I mean, it's only a couple of days since Saturday, but...
Well, after we pinned them down, MLA Barbara agreed that she would meet with us because we haven't seen the plans. Mm-hmm. So what are the existing plans now that Tristan came under his arm? What are those plans? We want to see them. We have more questions. Again, is it one phase? Is it two phases? What are these enhancements now that he brought there? Mm-hmm. Because he didn't exactly say the correct thing about the stakes, because we knew it was different. All right. So she has agreed to a meeting. We said because of the community centre being so widely used by the public, that we need to make sure that we can have a meeting. We might need to go back to the beach, which I'm perfectly happy with. We're right on the spot there, so that it's kind of hard to see the plans there because the breeze is blowing and all that type of thing. It would be better in the room, but I think it might be better to have it there. And Miss Barbara is going away for a week on Friday, so it'll probably be the first week of March that she would convene a meeting with us and the public and whoever wants to see the plans, and they said they'd be putting them up on the planning website.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that might be helpful too.
All right. Let's go to our phones and join some other callers. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Dwayne Ebanks, and good afternoon to your ladies there.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
I want to thank you, ladies, for your good representation.
Thank you.
Although I have a few points I would like to make. Number one is that technically the Caymanian people don't own any beach, except perhaps Spitz Abacadere that was donated to them by the Webster family. I haven't seen the documents to know whether that is true or not. That's what I've heard through the grapevine. When the strip of land on 7 Mile Beach was bought by the I think it was by the can't remember what the name of those people now, but it was Winston McNamee and Cardinal Acosta and all those people.
The JCs?
The JCs, yeah.
Yes.
They donated that land. That land was supposed to be donated to the people of the Cayman Islands, but what happened is that the land was transferred in the name of the Crown. The Crown is not the people of the Cayman Islands. That's Crown land. And that is the reason why the Crown can do anything it wants with it. It's the same thing with all the lands that they leased to Greenall in the days. And what the Crown did, instead of allowing that land to come back to the Cayman people after the long lease, they sold it. They turned the lease into a fee simple, and they sold the fee simple, sold the leasehold, and made it into a freehold. Now it's the same thing with the land adjacent to Smith back there. When the government took the money from the environmental fund, the $5 million or whatever it was to purchase that property,
over $5 million.
The government didn't dedicate that land to the people of the Cayman Islands. The government bought that in the name of the Crown. If you want to have public beaches and public spaces, especially public beaches, it should be registered in the land registry for the people of the Cayman Islands in perpetuity to be used as a beach. And then the Caymanian people could have a say in how they want to deal with it. What the government did is what they usually do, is that they don't come straight. And what they do, they don't fly straight. They bought the land and transferred it into the Crown's name. It's Crown land. That is the reason why they ignoring the people of the Cayman Islands, ignoring you, ignoring all the people, all of us that has a different view of what should happen to it. And another thing I would like to talk about.
Well, then, one question for you, sir. Can't we demand then that be registered in the same manner as Smith Bacadere for the people?
We should.
They can change. It's their registry, and if we tell them that's what we want and our money bought it from the environmental fund, that can be done. So that's good. That's one more thing that we have to ask for.
Exactly.
And get it done too.
Isn't that what the ladies are fighting for now with the beach accesses as well? Is because those are our public right of ways to the beach, but they don't want to include them on the land registry?
Well, yes, and we didn't have to buy them. We owned them by perpetual use after 20 years.
Right.
And the prescription law says, 1882, says that once you have been using it for fishing, picnicking, swimming, bathing, or any other things incidental thereto for 20 years, you have an indefeasible right to use it. That means it can never be taken away from you. And the government doesn't want to register that to protect the Caymanian people. I just do not understand how that is, because I just want to say this. Going ahead. Now, it seems to me that if you elect people to handle your public business, Ms. Barney and Ms. Rolston, you have your private business, which is your lawyers handle it, your accountants, your bankers handle it. But when you have your public business, government, roads, beaches, all those open spaces, you hire people who come at election time to say, I would like to represent you to do that business for you. So you elect them. You elect them to represent that business for you.
You trust them.
Yes, and they, but you so you send them to vote and to represent you in a particular way, and if they vote in another way, then you send that is, to me, that is subversive and corrupt, because they did not elect themselves, and it seems to me that they have it all wrong. So when the people say they didn't want in the parking lots, they didn't want in the cabanas and stuff, they should come down and they should say, I'm sorry, but I didn't consult you, and if you don't want them, then I'm not going to do them. But you can't keep going on telling people, well, this is what I want, you want. You have no expression, because your role is to represent the people who pay you. I can't understand how it can
Absolutely.
Be
the right thing, someone called me this morning, a young gentleman, And he said, you know what should have taken place there on Saturday? They should have come and the MLA should have said, this is for you. If you don't want it, we will change what you want us to do. And we wouldn't have had all that hullabaloo there with people getting upset. We wouldn't have had other, they need to listen to us. And if she had done the right thing, that's what would have taken place.
So, following on from what you just said, Ms. Borna, if the representative has a change in particulars that you who elect them to do can't do that, then they should resign. And they should find some other set of people who they would like to represent, who would like to do those kind of particulars that they want to do. I just cannot understand how we have gotten to this place where when you elect someone to do your public business, they turn around and they're your bosses, they're your emperors and your king.
I understand that $250,000 was, she told us that, was given to MLA Barbara for Georgetown South. So she targeted in on Smith-Bacadere. There are a lot of other issues. Look at the graveyard that we have up there. There's parking there by the people going out for the tenders for the boats. You can't get to the cemetery. There's a driveway going down to the beach, which used to be for emergency vehicles. That's parked up. You can't get to that beach either. Up there where the dock is, there are other things in South Sound. Look at the Jolly Roger. What that's doing on the road? This is all coming there. There are other things that money could have been spent on. And other parks, you heard the lady phoning about their park in Windsor Park. There are other parks there. Drive around, that could have been split up among other things. But you know why? Because they want it for the cruise ship. It's coming from the Minister of Tourism. It's coming from the Department of Tourism. And when asked in their meeting, an individual told me that it was Barbara's project. We have to support her.
Her project?
Yes.
But she doesn't have any project. It's the people's project.
Well, I'm telling you how we got it. I'm explaining to you where I got it.
It's amazing, Ms. Borna, how politicians can be paid to represent you and they turn around to be your bosses.
Well, those days are over, okay? Let's be positive and move on. We can't live in the past. We got to move forward. Let's change all of that now and make it abundantly clear. In the next election, we have to tell these people.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't even know. I know who my representative is because I'm Georgetown East.
Yes.
I've never seen anybody. No meeting has been called. Nothing. They go in there and they just do what they feel like doing. So, people are waking up. Thank God.
Anything else you want to share with us, sir?
They just want
Yes, sir.
If they have that kind of money that they want to spend, well, they should go and spend some in Scranton Park. They should drive around there and see the state of that.
But I understand they leased. They bought the land. Now they've leased it back to the people to make it a park. I never heard of anything like that in my life before.
Me neither, ma'am. Not with the people's money.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
With great respect, we'll take another call, but we do have a final break. Please join us after the break.
The 2020 Cayman Arts Festival is here with performances by the young, talented and versatile Lana Janjanin Trio, a musical mix of classical, jazz, soul and R&B. Saturday, February 22nd, 7 p.m. at the Camana Bay Cinema. Tickets are $40 US for adults and $15 for students. Tickets are available at www.caymanartsfestival.com. For more information, call 922-5550 or email inquiries@caymanartsfestival.com.
Seems like an illusion.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman will be holding a prostate and colon cancer awareness meeting at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay on Tuesday, February 18th at 7:30 p.m. Free PSA testing will be available along with a presentation by guest speaker Dr. Shillingford. PSA testing will be done by Royal Medical and Wellness Center. For more information on prostate and colon cancer awareness, join the Lions Club of Grand Cayman on Tuesday, February 18th at 7:30 p.m. at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay.
2020 means perfect vision. And if you have your sights set on driving a new hybrid, then the time is now to check out the new RAV4 and CHR. Hold up. Just two of the many hybrid models that Vamped is bringing to Cayman. Whether you're looking for a smoother and quieter way of driving or want a car that maximizes fuel efficiency while minimizing emissions, there are lots of ways a new hybrid from Vamped can make the difference in your life. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries without being plugged in. So focus your 2020 vision on a new hybrid from Vamped Motors, and we will see you through. Come to Vamped, home of the hybrid, located on Walkers Road.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Welcome back. Thank you for calling. And in the studio, the excellent company of Miss Shirley Rolston and Miss Bernard Thompson Cummings. And I believe it wouldn't be possible without, Miss Susan Watson, Susan P. Watson. So she makes it work.
Yay, Susan.
Yay, Susan. Dun, 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 dun.
By the way, thank you, Susan, for all those beautiful Caymanian photos that you keep posting. They're wonderful. Keep them coming.
Agree.
See? Susan has fans beyond me. All right, another call, Miss Susan. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
Not too bad. How are you guests, Miss Rolston and Miss Cummins?
Yes,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Yeah, this is Moxham here. Lennox Moxham.
Mr. Lennox,
Okay,
yeah.
good afternoon.
Yes, Miss Berna and Miss Rolston, I really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Because I got to say, when I left from Mary Street, that we built our house in South Sound, I would say, right next door to Flowers Apartments.
Mm-hmm.
My family, we always took them there, kids took them there to Smith Cove. And it always seemed so pleasant when they were growing up. And we could do so many different things there. And I really don't get to go there as often as I would like to go there. But if I gotta say we allow them to put a park in there and continue with the troves or cruise ship people there and the other different, I don't disrespect any nationality, but the majority of them, they from time they spend 2 nights over here, they just figure that they have all the rights that the average Caymanian have. And when I go to a place of a person's country, I respect the laws, I respect all the functions or whatever, what makes them. But it seems to me that this government that is in power right now, they don't want to listen to what the average Caymanian person want to say. And you see Smith Cove is a very, very, very nice place. And they don't need no parking pavement over there and big buses and things coming in there. We don't need that there. It's there for the people of the Cayman Islands and visitors alike to enjoy. It's one of the most nicest places that you can go. You can see all the trees. Matter of fact, our younger son got married there in a couple of years back, and he was onto the radio while telling you my older grandson learned to swim there. So the place has a special place in my heart for. I really wouldn't like to see any whole heap of buses and droves of people coming there and spoiling that for the people of the Cayman Islands. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you too, sir.
That's what we're fighting for.
Thank you, caller. You're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so where then are we and where do we go? What's next?
We are going to give the government the benefit of the doubt to listen to the people, and we hope they're going to come up with a plan that is actually not a plan. that Smith Barcadier should just be left the way it is. It works. We do not need a parking lot there. There's been talk about from the government side that there's a safety issue. That's why all this stuff has to be put in, because it's a safety issue. There's a parking issue, traffic and safety issue. So we have to have a parking lot. Smith Barcadier is not the only place in Cayman where people would have to back onto the road to go about their business. Park, back up, and go. It's not the only place. Parking is a problem all over Cayman at any given time, and it's not a safety issue. After the Smith Barcadier was underbrushed, yes, I will agree there had been some incidences there of rape or molestation or drug activity because of the so many hidden features in that property. Since it's been underbrushed, I haven't heard of any safety issues. A crosswalk has been put in. I haven't heard of any safety issues. If the government wanted to do something, that's a 25 mile per hour zone, I believe, put in a speed bump or two right before those crosswalks. But you need to do that at every crosswalk on this island if you're going to do it at Smith Barcadier, because every one of our crosswalks is a nightmare. When you push the button, there should be a delay that those lights go from yellow to red. You have to give people a chance to slow down and stop before you push the button and lights start flashing. People run out in front of cars and expect that they can stop. So we have a lot more things that we need to take care of besides putting a $2 million parking lot in Smith Barcadier and preventing people from actually utilizing the property the way that we always have used it for enjoyment. It's not to be, when they put gazebos now, the next thing you know, they'll be putting a kitchen and bedroom and everything up, beds and everything up inside there. Where does the enhancement stop? Smith Barcadier is perfect the way it is. You cannot enhance perfection. You are very pompous and arrogant and self-serving, anybody that thinks that they can enhance that property.
I'd like to add to what Shirley said, in that we were told, or I was told by Mr. Kurt, that we can't put bumpers or speed bumps there on a main road. Then put the other lines that slows you down, like they have up by Lantern Point in Prospect.
But they're on Thompson between there and Walker's Road. Aren't there speed bumps?
Yeah, but that's not a main road, he's saying. Like House South Sound is the main road. Okay.
Oh.
So that's like a side road, apparently. So.
Oh.
And it's more residential. Well, that's residential. Since they worried about the residents, they wouldn't be wanting all these changes there, because my sister and my nephew and all the people all around there, they don't want it either. You think they're worried about Grand Old House with their parking? So if they're not worried about parking, if they're only worried about parking, then they should address those issues there. But we are going to fight, and we want it left in its natural state, and so does thousands of people on this island and from overseas. They might not be able to vote or anything, but it has so much meaning for so many people. Weddings, baptisms, just going there and enjoying it. Over the years, some people grew up and have moved on, and they're no longer here, whatever reason. It's a beautiful spot. It must be kept in its natural state for all to enjoy. And we are going to work to get all these things corrected.
And we need
so
the public support.
We need it's in the name of the people.
Support. If you want something, you have to stand with us to help us get it.
All right. I think we have one final call.
Sure.
Let's take that. Good afternoon, and thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Afternoon, sir. How are you today?
Good, thanks. Verna and Miss
Shirley.
Ralston.
Yes.
Shirley. Hello.
Hello.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
here.
Good afternoon.
Sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment. I just turned my radio on. No disrespect to the politicians, none whatsoever. Because what I have to say is nothing to do. It's in no way being disrespectful to the politicians, but I hear a lot of times that the politicians are telling you that You know, when there's something like this that they want to do, that there's nothing in it for them. No way, shape, nor form, they get nothing out of it. Well, if that is the case, and the majority of the Caymanian people don't want something, why can't they just say, okay, we're not pursuing it any further? Because once you start to pursue something, that is only telling me one thing, that you are getting something out of it. So don't try to fool the people of this country anymore, because we are not back in those days with Mr. Warren Conley and the rest of them. Thanks very much, John. Have a good afternoon.
And you, sir. Thank you very much. And thanks again. Hopefully the public will continue to be informed, involved, engaged in an enthusiastic, civil, respectful way. Now, as we conclude our discussion, any final thoughts, perhaps Ms. Shirley and then Ms. Burnell?
I would just like for the people to know that we are trying to look out for the interests of all people, not just a handful. And going back to what our caller just said, how can this project go from $250,000, now it's up to $2 million? Somebody has to be getting something somewhere, and it's not you or me. And it's time for us to have a stake in this game.
Well, I think they should listen to what we're asking for. It's not a lot. Why are they forcing it on us? And it's not personal with the politicians. They have to learn that. It is about the people and our needs and about preserving our heritage and what we have. So it's not personal, and I hope that Miss Barb is not taking this personal, but she has to listen to us. And we look forward to meeting with her, and she listening, looking at the number of signatures we have and all that we have said and everything, and listen to us.
Well, thank you all very much, and I hope that we can move forward in a very positive way on this project, on everything else, for the betterment of all of us today and in the future. I'll just share this passing comment in a conversation that I had earlier with some people who said, in relation to this project, I probably can't repeat it the way that she shared it, but the lady said, on one hand, you're saying you don't want to develop it, you're buying it for, keep it
to
in
protect it.
Yeah, and then you're going to do something
against the wishes of the people.
So it's
contradictory. Yeah,
that's the word.
Hypocritical too.
Another word. See, I didn't want to put those words out there. Ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity. And if I believe in something, I see something else in Cayman that I don't agree with. I write about different places. Look what they did with our family cemetery. They've gone and dug up 3 graves. We're off the subject. You can't even rest in peace when you're dead and gone. They're going to dig them up and move on someplace else for a road, because they have gone and allowed so many cars to come into this island, and they're going to dig up dead people. I can't comprehend it. It just baffles me.
Yeah, some of it is mind-boggling.
Well, thank you all for not just the
courage. Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you you're most welcome.
I wanted more callers, but maybe they're satisfied with what we're sharing with them and explaining it. But anyway, another time.
Yeah, we'll come back.
There you go. All right, well, we invite you tomorrow to join us again after the midday news and midday meditation. Until then, be blessed.
Thank you.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
After all